Hi, my name is Tyler, and this is my education psychology project where I'm going to teach my friend how to get the standard deviation from a data set while using several concepts that were learned about over the semester in this class, and I will discuss that more in the paper that goes along with this. Before we get into learning how to get the standard deviation of a data set, what do you know about statistics?
I don't know much. I've calculated the mean, median, and mode before.
Okay, so getting the standard deviation is a little bit more difficult than those things, but it involves getting the mean, and after that, the rest of the formula is basic math that you have probably already learned. So I'm going to explain what the goals of the lesson are, and then from there, I'll show you the formula and what the terms mean, and then after that, I will solve a problem using the formula where you can watch, and then we can solve a problem together, and then I'll have you do one independently and evaluate how you do. So because we don't have a whiteboard or a blackboard, this is where I'm writing down the goals for our lesson today. So the first goal is to understand what statistics is and its purpose. The second goal is to understand and define the terms within the standard deviation formula. And the third goal is to independently find the standard deviation of a data set. First thing we're going to go over is the meaning and purpose of statistics. So statistics is a field of mathematics that interprets and analyzes data so that we can draw conclusions about the world around us. So for instance, during this pandemic, people can build statistical models that can show when the virus will die down, which gives us an estimated time of when we can stop quarantining, or of when it will be safe to go outside or have social gatherings. So can you think of another example of where statistics might be relevant in your life?
Yes. I work with large data sets of accounting related information. Statistics
It's okay.
Statistics will help
It's alright, take your time.
predict future trends
Right.
of where costs and sales might project at.
Okay. Yeah, so you can see how this can be important in many different fields, including your own. So I'm going to show you one basic method that can be used that shows the variance of a data set, how far other values are on average away from the mean. So the standard deviation is a measure of the amount of variation or dispersion of a set of values. So a low standard deviation indicates that there isn't a lot of dispersion within a data set, so that most values are close to the mean. And a high standard deviation indicates that values are increasingly further away from the mean. So for example, if you got a bag of Doritos and the mean number of chips was 25, but there's a standard deviation of 10, then there's a chance that you could either get 15 Doritos or 35 Doritos or anywhere within that range, right? So right here is a normal bell curve, and here you can see in the middle where the curve is the highest is the mean, and then each point away from that, a certain percentage is where standard deviation 0.1 would be. And as you go down, you call that the second standard deviation point, and then the third. Now, what's really important is to know the formula of calculating the standard deviation. So what's good to know is what these symbols mean because once you know that, then you'll know exactly what to do once you see the formula. So this little squiggly guy is called sigma. Alright, so you know this. And it's the sum of values. This x just represents a variable within the data set. The x with the bar over it represents the mean, and n represents the total number of values that are in the data set. So if you have a data set with 6 numbers, then n would be 6. So after this, I'm just going to do a quick assessment to see if you can memorize the terms within the formula for standard deviation. So in front of you, you have your first formative assessment, which is just going to test to see if you can define the terms that are involved in the standard deviation formula. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here you go.
Oh. Wow.
Good job.
Thank you.
You're really, your ability to define these terms has increased exponentially since the beginning of this lesson. So this is what has been written to show how to calculate the standard deviation. And this was the formative assessment, as well as some use of praise. Alright, so we got 5 gorillas. These are their ages: 8, 4, 14, 16, and 8. So what we're going to do is find what the mean age of these gorillas are and what the standard deviation is.
Okay.
And the good thing is that to get the standard deviation, we have to get the mean anyways. So what I like to start off is writing out the formulas I'm going to need to solve the problem. So can you tell me what else I need to put here?
Over the number of values minus 1, and all of it is being square rooted.
All right, good job. And here, I didn't exactly show you this, but you do know how to calculate the mean, but the proper way to write out the formula is just like that. That equals x bar, and this equals the standard deviation. So, first thing that we can do is I like to make a row for this part right here, the x minus x bar to the second. I'll make a row over here. Of just this. And what I'll do is I'll plug in my values that I have. And then I actually need to get the mean. So all we do is add 8 plus 4 plus 14 plus 16 plus 8. And we have 5 values, so we divide the sum of that by 5, which we will calculate right now. We only have one calculator.
50. over 5.
Okay, 50 over 5. And that equals 10. So we have a mean of 10. So it's going to be for the first one 8 minus 10 to the second, 4 minus 10 to the second, 14 minus 10 to the second, 16 minus 10 to the second, and 8 minus 10 to the second. So 8 minus 10 to the second would be 4. 4 minus 10 to the second would be 36. 14 minus 10 to the second would be 16. 16 minus 10 to the second would also be 36. And then 4 again, because 8 minus 10 to the second. And then what we do is create another row for the values that we just obtained. And now we're going to get the sum of these values.
4 plus 36 plus 16 plus 36 plus 4. 96 is the sum of those values.
96. So now we can put this 96 into our formula. 96 over n, which would be
5.
5 minus 1. So 96 divided by 4.
24.
And then all we need is the square root of 24. Calculator problems. We'll edit this out.
4.898979.
4.89
89
89
79.
79. And so we'll round that to the nearest hundredths point. So it'd be 5. No, 4.9. 4.90. And that's it. That's how you get your standard deviation. And we already have the mean, which was 10. And we solved the problem.
Nice.
So as you can see, while I did the problem, I had my student follow along with me. However, now we're going to have her try to solve one independently. So now we're going to have you solve one independently. So Toby took a sample of 4 employees at his company and looked at how many years they had each worked for the company. Here's what he found. Jim had been working there 6 years, Pam had been working there 5 years, Dwight 9 years, and Angela 8 years. If you notice, these are employees from the show The Office. And what you need to do is find the mean and standard deviation of how long these employees have been working there. Are you done?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the mean?
7.
Alright, and the standard deviation?
About 1.73.
Alright, let me just check my answer sheet. Good job, that's correct. So now we'll have you for homework do a couple practice problems, and the next time you come in, going to have a test where you'll have to solve 3 standard deviation problems. So make sure you understand the formula, that you remember the formula and what the terms mean, and that you can solve the problems. Class dismissed. All right, here is your exam. Good luck. If you have any questions, I'll be at my desk. Okay, so after evaluating your tests, it looks like you got all 3 correct. So I'd like to say that I have witnessed a great improvement in your ability to solve these type of problems and in the field of statistics. So good job.
Thank you.
Now, since we finished test day, the next day of class will be our TikTok dance-off where we can all relax and have a good time.